It's been nearly 1.5 years since the fallout from the Astros sign stealing scandal took the MLB world by storm. With fans finally in the stands and retaliations already launched against Houston, in this episode, we try to figure out who the true scapegoats are in this whole fiasco. Welcome to La Bodega, everybody. Here's my co-host, the one and only, Luis, aka CT, aka LA. He goes by at Hovamojo on Twitter. Luis, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, and everyone, I'd like to introduce you back to my co-host, Manny Go 3 on Twitter.
Me?
He's great. He's Manny. How are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Today we're talking about the Houston Astros, man. We just, we're that girlfriend that just keeps nagging you about the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. Please don't
Yeah.
be to us after that, please.
It's almost not, we're about like a couple months since a year that we dropped a video where we questioned Jose Altuve's mental state and how he was performing after the Astros got caught cheating and winning a World Series. And we just want to take a look back and update you guys on how the Astros are doing. They're 5-0, by the way.
Mhm.
So all you trolls out there that love, banging trash cans and tweeting about how the Astros are the worst, I guess they're fueling their desire to prove you guys wrong. So keep it going, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, so and just a recap, if you haven't watched the video yet, we're gonna link it up somewhere in either this corner or that corner. So check it out over there. Um, Basically, what we were saying was that the Houston Astros were caught in this sign stealing scandal. They should have been punished. They were punished, and it just seemed like Jose Altuve was bearing the brunt of all the criticism. And maybe that's not reality, but that's what it seemed like from the outside looking in and seeing how Jose Altuve performed last year and how he was carrying himself. He just didn't seem like the same guy. Whereas someone like Carlos Correa almost embraced it. Like it was like fuel. It turned him into an animal on the field. Like we saw a version of Carlos Correa last year that I don't think I mean, we don't live in Houston, so I'm not sure if maybe this is their perception of him all along, but it was something I've never seen before. Like all the stuff he was talking in the postseason in retaliation, and then not only that, delivering on the field literally took them to, I think they went to Game 7 of the ALCS, maybe, or maybe it was Game 6. I don't remember. Um, he took it as fuel. Whereas you described it perfectly. Jose Altuve almost looked like a injured puppy off in the corner. Like,
Yeah.
and then the numbers. You look at the numbers really quick. Last season, Jose Altuve hit 219 with a 629 OPS. Those are two career lows. The worst he had done prior to that was his rookie season when he hit 276 with a 654 OPS. So, he was coming off of an injury. Maybe that explains that. But it just didn't appear like he was handling all the blowback that well. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
I just want to say, like, we all know how, I don't know if your opinion of Carlos Correa has changed, but for me, I've always found Carlos Correa kind of corny. And when he was running his mouth during the playoffs, I was like, man, I really hope they eliminate this guy, because I don't like Carlos Correa, but he proved us wrong, man. He put the Astros in a good position, performed extremely well in the playoffs, and I think Astros fans love Carlos Correa because after they extended who was it, Lance McCullers?
Yeah.
All I saw on Twitter was like, now let's get Carlos Correa, like do Carlos Correa next. And so I think I think Houston fans embrace Carlos Correa. For Jose Altuve, and you're right, like I just saw something. It just didn't look like the Jose Altuve you were used to seeing last year. And our opinion was that it was due to the fact of all this stuff that they were, all the hate that they were receiving for something well deserved, because the Houston Astros were guilty. But I think you're about to show us that maybe Jose Altuve isn't as guilty as we thought.
So yeah, so if we look at, there's a website called sign stealing scandal.com, and this
Yes.
guy, this, so I remember this came out pretty soon after the John Boy video and the punishments were handed out. This guy, he's an Astros fan. He went back and analyzed all the tapes. A lot of time in his hands. And it turns out that if you look at the numbers by percentage, Jose Altuve had the second lowest number of trash can bangs in that team. So the assumption is that he didn't cheat as much as other guys did. So he had 2.7% of the time he received a trash can bang, right?
Mhm.
And so he's right. Yeah, Jose Altuve was the lowest. He received the lowest trash can bangs of any starting player. Let's call it that way. And so then I started asking myself, like, well, then why is he catching so much flack, or why is he taking so much responsibility for this? Is it because he didn't speak out about it? He went along with it. Um,
My opinion was that Jose Altuve at the time believe he was the highest paid Astro. He definitely had the best contract, in my opinion. I always consider Jose Altuve like the face of that Astros team. He's probably one of the oldest guys, not oldest like by age, but as far as like service time on the team. But there's other guys on the Astros that I've always been fans of that finding out that they cheated didn't really change my opinions of, like Michael Brandley. Michael Brandley was always to me an elite offensive
but I don't think
hitter.
he was on that. Was he on that 2017 team, Michael Brantley?
Michael Brantley, I think he
Hmm.
was.
Hmm.
The point is that even after,
But
I mean, no
either
one
way, we
gives.
don't know. They might have been doing it in 2018. We don't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
whether or
because
not
we
they did.
found out about it in 2019,
Same
and
thing.
this.
He wasn't there in 2018 either. He came to the Astros in 2019. But they
Okay,
could have been doing it during the 2019 season too, for all we
I'm
know.
still a Brandley fan. I don't care, guys. Like you
The
guys are.
fallout from this whole thing happened after the 2019 season, so it's been almost a year and a half ago. And yeah, I see what you're saying, but so the person that I feel is kind of got away with it a little bit, and again, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus for this situation unfairly, because like the steroid era, we don't know who else was cheating. What we do know is that the Astros had this intricate, crazy system that they used that was effective, and and that they took advantage of a system of a poorly written rule by Major League Baseball better than anyone else. That's what we do know. What we don't know is what other teams were doing something similar. Maybe they weren't relaying signs so maliciously like the Astros did. But
Mhm.
anyway, what I'm trying to say is here, you got someone like Altuve who seemed like, because he's having a better season this year, finally. Like he was bearing a lot of the blame for what was happening or what happened in Houston. Then you have a guy like George Springer, who got the second highest number of bangs in the team, the second most bangs in the team, 131, right behind Marwin Gonzalez, who got 136 total bangs, correct bangs. Um, and I feel like I never heard anybody say anything really all that negative about George Springer.
Yeah.
And
Nor.
this reminds me so much of the steroid era, because it's like the whole Barry Bonds versus
Yeah.
Andy Pettit situation. Like Andy Pettit was caught using HGH. He admitted to it under the court of law. He even threw Roger Clemens under the bus. Rat, just kidding.
Mm.
But he never caught any of the flack. But Barry Bonds did. I think it's like a people are picking choosing who they like, or it's like A Rod and David Ortiz. They were both, their names were anonymously leaked to the media. A Rod catches the brunt of the blame. This is before the biogenesis scandal. David Ortiz is like, oh look, it's Big Poppy. I love this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It has to be. It has something to do. It has to have something to do with the fact that A Rod's cashed in one of the largest contracts in baseball history, or that Barry Bonds is the guy sitting on top of both home run lists, single season and career. And that Andy Pettit, although was great in his time, I don't think anyone was saying like, Andy Pettit, like this guy robbed us of the innocence of baseball and stuff. It has to have something to do with that. But even Bartolo Colon, like Bartolo
Yeah.
Colon was caught, and
Nelson Cruz.
Nelson Cruz still banging home runs today. Like hit 2 yesterday in one game. He's
And I
still.
love Nelson Cruz, by the way.
I love Nelson Cruz too, but if I had to point at someone that's probably using something, it's probably Nelson Cruz. I mean, when does a guy perform like this at that age? Like, find me everybody's
Uh,
44-year-old on their team who's hitting, 450-foot shots.
he's a
But
beast, man.
back to the George Springer thing. I think you're right. Like, I don't think anyone's gonna show up to Toronto games and bang on trash cans or boo him when he comes up to bat. I feel like he left the Astros and that chapter's probably done in his book.
Yeah, and then you can understand why someone like Marwin Gonzalez didn't catch so much flack. Like he's a decent player, but he
Yeah,
wasn't the difference maker on this team.
yeah,
Um, it could also be that infamous video that came out after the whole after John Boy released the Farquhar video where Farquhar said that he heard a suspicious bang every time the changeup sign was thrown, and then we saw the video, and then you know the last image that I remember of Jose Altuve in the 2019 season before this all broke out was him walking off on Aroldis Chapman and yelling "No camisa, no me quite la camisa."
yeah,
Looked like he had something weird maybe strapped on his chest, and he doesn't want them to take off his shirt. Meanwhile, everybody in the world is posting pictures of Jose Altuve shirtless in the stadium and all over the place.
yeah,
Um, maybe he was cheating, or maybe I don't know. This is conjecture here, but maybe that was the only time he said, "Yo, I need this. I'll do it this time. Give me the buzzer or whatever." I
yeah.
don't know.
All I know is that fast forward to what we're seeing today, we're five games into the 2021 season, and Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Michael Brandley, you're right. He wasn't part of the team in the 2017, but still, these guys are hitting well, and the Astros are 5-0.
Yeah,
And not only are they just 5-0, they swept a division rival in the Oakland A's, who I think in the last episode I picked them to win the division. And we even have the Angels looking at making a playoff run. I don't know anymore because the Astros just seem like that team right now in the division. Based on, I know it's just 5 games. We have 150 uh
yeah.
my math is a little off here, Manny. If you want to
Seven,
just
157.
something like that left,
Yeah,
anything can happen. But you have a team that they don't have Justin Verlander or Garrett Cole, so I kind of got to give them credit. And I don't know if it makes sense to waste energy. I don't know how people wake up and say, "Man, I can't wait to go boo the Astros today,
yeah.
man." Like this is what baseball's about. No, I don't know. I
And
feel
I get it.
like
You're
beat them.
paying money to go into a stadium. You're allowed to boo. I get it. Whatever. Do what you need to do. But I'm with you. If the Astros to me, they're not a threat. If I was this is Manny the Yankees fan speaking here. If I was Manny the Yankees fan speaking, I'm not afraid of the Astros because they're not in my division. The
Yeah,
the worst damage that they could do to me is in 6 games out of 162 in a big season. Like, yeah, that can make or break a year for me, but I'm more concerned about the Toronto Blue Jays, the
yeah,
Boston Red Sox, the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm not so concerned about the Astros. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, so if I'm gonna show up to a stadium for a Houston Astros game, I'm going to just enjoy myself. I'm not gonna go to join the crowd of lunatics that are booing them because they cheated 4 years ago. What I will, if I'm going to Yankee Stadium as a fan and they're facing the Boston Red Sox, I'm gonna boo just because they're my rival and there's just a long time rivalry there and it's friendly. Like I've been to Yankees Red Sox games before as a rival
mhm,
and next to Red Sox fans and I've booed and they've booed and at the end of the day we were cool. You know what I mean? Like there was no
yeah,
beef or anything like that. So
yeah.
but yeah, the point of the matter is I don't understand, and I guess I'm kind of talking out of both sides of my mouth here because it happened in Angel Stadium, right? They threw the blow up trash can. Weren't they against the Angels
Yeah,
last night?
last night they beat the Angels, but going back to the Oakland A's series, I think like the DJ for the stadium was playing
Oh,
like some
next time
cheating
he
song.
cheats, maybe
Yeah,
he'll think before he cheats.
it's like, bro, you
That's
guys
pretty
just got
funny though. That's
it
funny.
is
I gotta give it
it
up to him for that.
it's funny, but you know what sucks? Getting swept in 4 games as a season
Yeah,
opener in your
yeah.
home stadium. So let's, have at it. Let the
And
Astros.
and and the one team you don't want to do this to is probably the Astros. Like last year, you saw what they did. Like we started off the show
Yeah,
with this in the postseason, all the crap everybody was talking, and Carlos Correa just put them on his back. And now they have a healthy Alex Bregman on the team. Jose Altuve seems to be doing a lot better. Um, they continue to crank out pitching in that team,
I don't know how.
so you might be right. Maybe our picks are gonna end up being wrong because I don't even think I have the Astros in the postseason at all this year. But
And
I
to
know
be
it's only
fair,
5 games, anything could happen, but they're
to be
looking really good.
yeah, to be fair, in the shortened season, I think they were one of two teams, maybe the only team under 500 to go into the
Yeah.
playoffs in a shortened season. So yeah, but let's be honest, man, them in the playoffs made it more exciting because that's a team you want to see get beat in a playoff series.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just gonna take this one day at a time, sit back, observe. Not gonna really, boo them if I go to a stadium. It's just not me as a baseball fan. But for all you guys that love trolling and getting your tweets in, go have at it. I mean,
And then
just
one other
keep that same energy when they
yeah.
go to the playoffs.
One other thing that I found kind of disappointing was when this all went down, I kind of felt like, and so the point of this episode is to figure out, is Jose Altuve the Houston Astros scapegoat? My answer is essentially it's yes and no. So he is the scapegoat, but I think it's more self-imposed. I don't think people, the fan base as a whole, I don't think they're like, oh, Jose Altuve. If anything, I think Carlos Correa gets that more than Jose Altuve does.
Mhm.
So then I'm going to go back to who I thought were the real scapegoats, and I thought it was Alex Cora and Carlos Beltran, who I felt like these were just two guys who were there at the time. Now they're gone because Beltran had accepted a job with the Mets to become their manager. Carlos Correa is with the Boston Red Sox. I mean, Alex Cora is with the Boston Red Sox, and so they were the easy ones to just put the blame on. That was what my perception was. And then you had guys like AJ Hinch who got suspended for a year, so he got his punishment, who was almost denying that he knew what was going on, and that when he found out, he was so upset. And I remember saying, how are you the manager of the team and you don't know what your players are doing? You don't
Yeah.
realize that there's a guy at the end of the dugout banging a trash can at random times. You don't know that there's some sort of, I still don't buy it to this day. But anyway, so I texted with someone from the Houston area, um, an expert in this field, and they told me that yes, they were the ringleaders and that they would pressure guys into doing this. So that was kind of disappointing to hear. And I just want to get your take, man. As a Red Sox fan, Alex Cora is back now. 2018. Does that change your perception of that season for you at all?
It does. I
Wow.
I would have to say that, not that I'm taking anything away from that team, but because Mookie balled out that year, winning the MVP. Um, JD Martinez had a beast year. Devers had a beast year. Bogarts had a beast year. I'm not taking anything away from that team, but I just usually I'm just like a gullible fan where I just believe these guys are innocent. I'd have to say that the Red Sox definitely played some sort of, cheating role in the background. Um, and it's upsetting to hear because now he's the coach, he's the manager once again. And someone who we mentioned in our last video of Jose Altuve was JD Martinez, who is also now looks like he's back to being JD Martinez. He's in the first 4 or 5 games of the season. The Red Sox aren't looking that great, but JD Martinez is doing his part, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, it changes the way I look at that 2018 season, but it's out of my control now. We won. Get over it.
All right. So I want to real quick. I don't know if they cheated or not in 2018. I don't want to make that leap yet, just
Yeah.
because we don't have evidence for it. But you make good points about JD Martinez's struggles once Correa was gone. Why do I keep calling him Correa? Cora was gone. Cora's now back and he's hitting like a beast again. Here's another thing that happened, Luis. I'm not sure if you know this or not. But the way that the Astros were stealing signs were that MLB allowed the replay room to be placed right next to the dugout. And they would have I think they had like a compliance officer making sure that nobody was using it for anything other than checking replays or whatever. And the players took advantage of it, and they went in there, they discovered sign sequences and came up with systems to steal signs, right? So the replay room, that's something that JD Martinez really, really utilized in his hitting. And he's talked about in the past that he likes to watch video of himself hit and to make adjustments or whatever. They took that away entirely last year.
Mhm.
So he didn't have that at his disposal in game. This year, it's back. They have in-game video rooms again, but there are rules in place. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read the whole protocol, but they're back. So maybe he just has access to that room again, and he can analyze himself a little bit better. He's one of these analytics guy. I think his hitting coach was Bob Tewksbury, not the pitcher. There's a hitting coach up in Massachusetts, and they're big on tech and launch angle, exit velocity, and all that stuff. So it could just be that he has his comfort zone is back. He can go back and see what he's doing wrong and make some adjustments.
Yeah.
Good answer, man. Wow, gave you that long-winded answer, and you give me a
Yes, Manny,
yeah.
I agree with you that that could be the reason. But again, just because I want to not just be that, wide-eyed, gullible baseball fan that I've been all my life, I'm expecting them to get caught doing something else. If Alex Cora was really the mastermind behind all this, confirmed by one of your sources whose name will not be revealed on this podcast,
Dun dun dun.
and the fact that Carlos Beltran, like, haven't even heard of him since the Mets got rid of him, and he never even got a chance to, be the manager of a team, and probably won't ever be in our lifetime.
He's gone, man. We don't even hear from Carlos
Yeah,
Beltran anymore.
no idea what happened to this guy. Maybe the MLB has a role in this. They're like, you know what? Let's roll with this. Carlos Beltran, just stay out of the spotlight for the rest of your life. We'll pay you some money under the table. But I'm just expecting that there's probably the day will come when Alex Cora gets caught doing something again. If he was really the mastermind behind the 2017 Astros trash can banging scandal.
All right, man. Let's sign off here. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, rate, review on the podcast. Subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. Leave us a comment. We'll reply, or maybe we'll talk crap about you on the air. And that's it, man. Thanks for coming to La Bodega. Peace.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Peace.